Hello, we are live. Yes, we are definitely live. It's all gone red on my screen. Say hello, all my lovely musicians in their rooms. Yay, there we are. Tonight, you are going to be listening to pieces by Mike, Mark, Alan, and Maya. Please ask questions by using the YouTube in the corner, in the chats. If you want to say, well done, thank you very much. That was lovely. Oh, I loved that second piece. What is it? All those sort of questions. Chuck it in the comments because otherwise, this whole process does feel very one way. I've done a lot of virtual choirs and that over the last 6 months. And I think all of these musicians have probably done some recording for various different people, and it does feel very one way and you're stuck and you're isolated. So any comments that you can chuck in that comment box, that would be great. According to my little thing in the corner, there are 9 of you watching. So there may be some other people joining later on in the evening, but it's now gone up to 10, so that's really exciting. In a moment, we're going to ask Mike to come up. If you're thinking, oh, I don't know what to comment, just leave me 2 comments. One would be, where do you live? Not that I can come round, not details of like postcode or anything, just like, a county. And then maybe just leave a number. Hey, there's Sue. Yes. And Bella, lovely. Lovely new lounge. Right, I'll share those comments in a moment. Yes, place where you live and how many people are watching. Because I know we've done tickets for households, and that could be 5 people watching or 1 person and a dog. I'm just going to put my dinner down on the floor, excuse me, and then we'll start. So, Mike, just before you go, this is a comment that's just popped up. It says, hey, next door trumpeter, from Sue, who's literally on the other side of that wall, I believe, probably.
Literally, she's probably about 5 meters away. Hello, Sue. How lovely
Fantastic.
to join me.
Excellent.
If I open the door, she'll just hear me anyway.
Very good. We've got people listening from Trowbridge, from my lounge next door, and also from Cambridge. Nick Couchman from Cambridge, so lovely. And Dean from Trowbridge, and 2 of you watching as well. That's lovely. Right. Enough talk from me for the moment because we've got to do some music. So we're going to make sure all the other musicians, if you can be muted, and then I shall go over to Mike, and Mike's going to introduce his pieces and it's basically his set for 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and chat. So, over to Mike.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Sorry, I just leant over then slightly. This is the problem about having a microphone. But then, those of you who see me at concerts in various concert halls will know that everything's entertaining. Ha! Rather like Eric Morecambe. Anyway, good evening. Oh, hello, Peter and Darren. How marvellous to see you. Here's a little fanfare because that's what trumpeters do. Now, that was called the Big Turtle Fanfare. And the last time I played that was in front of a lot of toddlers who were between 6 months and about 2 years old. So I think I've probably stayed in that same vein. Big Turtle Fanfare by a chap called Georg Ligeti, who was from Austro-Hungarian. And until 1956, his very avant-garde style was frowned upon in that area, and it wasn't until he left in 1956 that he was let go on his avant-garde. He's one of the 4 leading avant-garde composers of the 20th century. But thankfully for you this evening, hello bells. Thankfully for you this evening, that wasn't too avant-garde, but it's rather nice, isn't it? The Big Turtle Fanfare. He also did a whole bunch of film music. So we're going to go way back now. I'm going to use my little piccolo trumpet. It's very small. And I'm going to play a piece of Charpentier, Marc-Antoine Charpentier, and this is his rondo from Te Deum. Those of you who love the EU will know something about this. And just on Thursday, we went to record the organ part for this in Stephen Hollis's shed in his garden. He does actually have an organ. Marvellous. Charpentier Te Deum. Ah, hello, Stuart and Rosemary Aylward, all the way from Winchcombe, up near Cheltenham. So that was a little piece of piccolo trumpet music. And now I chose this next piece. So curiously, in lockdown, a lot of musicians were doing stuff at home, either musical or non-musical. I used the time to do some practice and go on a lot of cycle rides and have a beer outside with my other neighbour. But all of us have been feeling a little bit bereft of work, you see, because we can't go out. So I recorded some trumpet quartets, and fortunately for this evening, easy for me to say, I can take out one of the trumpet parts and play one of them live. Isn't that exciting? So this is the Gershwin's Nice Work If You Can Get It. And you can get it if you... different trumpet. And because the solo parts are on all 4 different trumpet parts, I'm going to give myself a break, and there's a special guest soloist just to do a few bars to give me a little rest in this one. Nice Work If You Can Get It, featuring a guest surprise trumpet player.
That one. 1, 2. A 1, 2, 3, 4.
nice work if you can get it. We're all thinking that. And put your hands together for our special guest trumpet player, Shrek. Thank you very much. He comes in very useful. Otherwise, I would have just been standing here like a lemon, you see. Bye-bye. Go away. So, goodness me, we reach the last piece of my little set. Only 7 minutes worth of music. Seems like longer. So for this last piece, back in the jazz style, this is a piece by Leonard Bernstein, who I'm sure you've all heard of, who wrote the music for all sorts of things, including West Side Story. This is a little piece called Red, White and Blues. And it's just a bluesy thing. I had to record a piano part myself because there's no piano player here at home. So a little backing track I've got is a little piano part. And it's slow and heavy and it's short. But I hope that not everything red, white and blue is too blue. And it is quite optimistic. Thank you very much. It's been a marvel entertaining you. I shall speak to you on the other side of this piece. Very much indeed. Very much. It's hard work playing for 10 minutes. Goodness me.
Let me bring people back into the stream. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thanks very
Alan's
much.
gone for a little leg stretch, maybe.
Yeah,
Lovely. So
beautiful.
there's
I'm going to turn myself up. Is that better?
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
First, a quick question.
Yes.
That's popped up here by Nick. This was after you did the 4 trumpets piece.
Oh, yes.
Was that nice work? You can get it.
Nice work if you can get it, yes.
Yeah. Was that one of your own arrangements?
Well, I mean, I would like to say so. It is by a Mike, but it's Mike Walton.
Mike Walton.
But I kind of adapted it slightly. I mean, I adapted it quite a lot, actually.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Then a next question from Ella,
Yes.
who's at 8, which is fantastic that she's watching this going on.
Hello, Ella. Hello, Ella.
What made you
Hello,
choose
Dean.
to play the trumpet?
Well, it's one of those things that musicians say, but the trumpet chose me.
Oh.
I was inspired by, and my mother will know this because she was sitting next to me at the time. I was inspired by William Tell. And I was listening to the CBSO in Birmingham Town Hall play William Tell Overture, and apparently, so it goes, I just couldn't control myself, and I was bobbing about like a bobber. So really, it is that it chose me.
Wow. And that probably is, I mean, the next question that she asked earlier on was, how did you get into music? So
How did music get into my blood? Is the
yes,
answer. I didn't get in. Well, I got into it because it was there,
because it was there.
and
Okay.
it was around me as well at
Yeah.
home.
How about the others in the room, Mark and Maya? I know you're not muted at the moment, and Alan. Just very quickly, tell us, how did you stumble across A, music, and B, your instrument? Mark, I'm going to ask you first.
Um, well, my dad had like a home organ, and I just messed around on it as a kid.
Yeah.
And one of the beautiful things about not being a trained musician is you don't freak yourself out about what's right and wrong and good and bad. So I thought I was amazing. And I remember my dad saying, "Hey, you know, do you think you might fancy some lessons?" And my reply was, "Why would I need lessons? This sounds great." So that
Yes.
was it. And then did piano for a bit, and then sort of fell into orchestral percussion because my county music service offered it at a weekend, and that was it. And
County
then,
music service, goodness me.
Yeah.
what were they? Yeah, and then sort of gradually went to the dark side, and this one. So
there you are.
my orchestral days are long gone.
Yeah. Alan, what about you? Why horn? Did the horn choose you?
Well, actually, it was a bit of a long story. I was just they were just selecting kids in the classroom, and they just kind of went, "You look big enough to play a brass instrument. Come and try this out." So we all tried out the trumpet, and by the time I got there, all the trumpets had gone, and there was nothing left but a horn.
Right.
So that's
Lovely. And
how I ended
Maya,
up playing
what about
horn.
you?
My mom was in love with piano, and I wanted to go and study music, and she thought she either plays piano or nothing. So
Right. So
it
you
was a
went.
bit of
You
imposed on me, but luckily I love the piano, so it was a nice decision overall. After
Yeah. Brilliant. And a question from wife next door for Mike. How old were you when you chose the trumpet, or when the trumpet chose you? Just out of interest.
Well, this will be relevant to Peter watching as well. I remember going round to my friend Peter's house, who some people will know, and his older brother Tony played the trumpet, and I got to play the trumpet. Well, march around the house playing the trumpet. I don't know, 8, 9, 9,
8 or
10,
9.
9,
Yeah.
10, 9, 10, 9,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Is that the same sort of age for everyone else? Those.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
9 as well.
I
Yeah.
was 5.
5. 5. You hit the piano when you were 5. Well, that's pretty impressive. You're younger than all of us, probably by a little bit, maybe. But I mean, you've had more years playing than all of us, then probably.
No,
Started
it
at 5.
was just-
Excellent.
I was always very tall. I was so tall that I was actually admitted to the school with no problems, and then
Because you were tall. Imposter. Fantastic. Brilliant. Right. Conscious of always of the time. We're now going to go over to Mark. What's been nice about this little group of people here, just so those people who know me, Mike obviously plays a lot in lots of things that I've done, lots of shows, and so has Mark, and so has Alan. They normally play in the Theatre Royal Pits and various things as part of a bigger ensemble. Not Maya, but I'll tell you more about how I know Maya later on when we get to introduce Maya. So it's really nice to have these three in this first trial of this concert. So over to Mark, who's going to not only play the drums, but show us lots of wizardry as well, because he's lots of clever things. So as it's always live, who knows what might happen. So again, if the other musicians, you can mute yourselves, and then I'll mute myself and introduce you to Mark. Oh, no, that's me.
That's definitely you.
That's you.
Hello, Wembley. So I was planning on doing a Lloyd Webber thing from Jesus Christ Superstar with Matt conducting on the screen, but then we realised the technology wasn't up to it. So last minute decision, I thought I'd go completely insane, and I'm going to sight read a big band chart, which is written by a chap called Laurie Cottle, who's an amazing bass player. He's done stuff. I think there's a bit of lag on this camera, but can't do much about it. Hopefully my audio playing will be in time. If not, that's the excuse I'm going to use. So this is kind of what drum music looks like. If I can sort of... there you go. So what have I got here? Not a lot. All this stuff is what the horn section is phrasing, so the trumpets, saxes and trombones. And the idea is for me to hopefully not lose my way in all of that, and also maybe pick out some of those rhythms. So fingers crossed, what could possibly go wrong? I thought it would be a nice experiment. I think I'm insane, but here we go. So you're going to hear a few clicks, what we call a click track up front. We sometimes use them live on shows and stuff if there's backing tracks. So I'm going to be playing to a pre-recorded big band on this. So you'll hear a few click, click, clicks, and then I'll be off, I hope. Matt, do jump in if anything goes tragically wrong here. Not my playing. Well, that was going marvellously till I hit the wrong button inadvertently with a stick here, which started the track again. But we almost got to the end. So there we go. I do have good neighbours. Thankfully, I have a soundproof little studio as well, which is a bit like a glorified shed. What does sight read mean? It means sweat profusely, thinking that you're going to make errors. So I haven't looked at that piece of music before, with the exception in the sound check, where I maybe played the first 16 bars. So I'm trying to, like you would with a book, read ahead, and all the notation are just like words. So when we're reading a book, we're not reading the letters in the words or the words as a, we're seeing them as a whole, but your eyes are casting forward. So I was trying to get as much of that right as possible, which is almost there. What are each of the drum kit instruments called? Right, so I've got this groovy sort of roof camera. We've got the snare drum, which is kind of your military thing. The bass drum down the bottom here, that's played by my foot. I think you can just about see that. And these are obviously cymbals. I'm sure you know that. This is called the hi-hat, which is going to come into action quite a lot in this next song. These two are called crash cymbals because they go crash. And this is called the ride cymbal. Why? Because you sort of ride on it, I suppose. That was what I was doing in that tune. It's used a lot in jazz, kind of. So yeah, and these guys are toms, which are the smaller ones higher pitch and the bigger ones lower pitch. Sometimes you use 3 or 4 of these. Whoops! I just did a little recording session before we did this, actually, for a trumpeter called Sam Massey, who I'm sure Mike knows, and that needed 3 toms, so I had another one set up. And they're all different pitches, so at least that way you kind of get some sort of melodic shape on the instrument. So my second and final piece is a song by Paul Simon. I think it was 1975, and it's a famous song which, if you don't know by name, you'll probably recognise the chorus. It's called 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover, and the reason I've chosen it, I mean, it's a great song, but the drum part was created by a chap called Steve Gadd. He's been sort of one of the top session drummers since the 70s, really, and has recorded with loads of people you'd know: Bill Withers, James Taylor, Carly Simon, you name it. I mean, that's a few, but Kate Bush, loads of stuff. And it's kind of quite a unique drum part. I might just play you a little bit before I play the song. And Gadd did an odd thing, because normally you'll see drummers playing sort of like this right hand over left thing, and he played it what we call open-handed, which means you can get around the instrument a bit more. So this is the drum part. So it's kind of got this kind of marchy thing, but it's funky, and that's what happens in the verse, and then it does more of a sort of standard groove in the chorus. So let's unleash this. I shall say there's a tambourine initially that joins me, and the tambourine's really important. That's not playing on the beat as you'd expect, it's playing upbeats, so it's going to which grooves a lot harder than like on beats feel like full stops sometimes. The off beats are what pushes it forwards. Here we go.
Problem is all inside your head, she said to me. The answer is easy if you take it logically. I'd like to help you in your struggle to be free. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. She said it's really not my habit to intrude, and furthermore I hope my meaning won't be lost or misconstrued. But I'll repeat myself at the risk of being crude. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. You just slip out the back, Jack, make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy, you just get yourself free. Hop on the bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free. Out the back, Jack, make a new plan, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy, you just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus, you don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free. She said it grieves pains me so to see you in such pain. I wish there was something I could do to make you smile again. I said I appreciate that. And would you please explain about the 50 ways? She said, why don't we both just sleep on it tonight? And in the morning I believe that you'll begin to see the light. And then she kissed me, and I realized she probably was right. There must be 50 ways to leave your lover. 50 ways to leave your lover. Just slip out the back, Jack. Making your plans, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. You just get yourself free. Or you hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free. Slip out the back, Jack. Making your plans, Stan. You don't need to be coy, Roy. You just listen to me. Hop on the bus, Gus. You don't need to discuss much. Just drop off the key, Lee, and get yourself free.
Huzzah!
Hooray!
Well done. Yay!
We got
You
through
made
it.
it.
No sight reading there.
Yeah.
Yay!
Well done.
Cheers.
Well, thank you very much. Really good. And I think Ella says, great, now I've learnt something
Yay.
as well. That was about you talking about that, so well done. Thank you very much for that. A question from next door.
My
That's
next door.
literally
Are they
next
saying
door
shut
from
up?
Bella. What's been...
Yeah.
Well, no,
Keep it down.
no, not your next door. Next door. What's been your best gig? Go on, tell
No
us.
pressure, Mark.
What's been your best gig?
Gosh, don't know. I've done some. Well, okay. Well, no, I have got an answer
Okay.
actually, and it's,
I'll let you think about that one.
there's been some really cool venues like Royal Albert Hall, Glastonbury, and stuff like that. But I think the one that sticks out for me is with a saxophone player called Ian Bellamy, and it was just some divey little club in Birmingham, and nothing wrong with that, Mike. Sorry,
All right.
Hugh Warren on piano and a guy called Percy Perskov
All
on
right.
bass, and it was just one of those nights where kind of, you know, everything comes together, and yeah, it was really beautiful. Yeah.
Lovely. And so tonight, I mean, at the end of that first piece, there was quite a lot of effort going
Yes.
on because you were sight reading. You know, do you get nervous when you play? And if you do get nervous, is that good nerves, bad nerves? What? Tell us about. And once Mark said that, I'm going to ask that to the same to everybody else here. Do you get nervous?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I have to say, I felt a little nervous just before this happened,
Yeah.
for the reasons that did happen, which is sometimes technology can kick you in the backside. Yeah, I mean, I've had some really negative experiences with that, where I've psyched myself out and,
Right.
you know, screwed up gigs. But over the years, it's just kind of, you know, I guess you get more experience and you find ways of doing it. And I tend to sort of try and get into a meditative space to some degree before I play. So just kind of forgetting all the stuff that's going on around or has gone around, that you've had a nightmare trying to park and sound check was terrible and all that. It's like just try and be in the moment and be open to the music and everyone that's around you. That's the way I get through it.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? I can see you've got your microphone on, so you can.
I have got my microphone on.
Yeah. Lean in a bit closer, Mike. That's a mission from my
Yes.
mum in Berkshire.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll turn myself up as well. Is that better? Yeah. Good. Lean in.
Yeah.
Nerves. Yeah. You need nerves. Otherwise you do actually wreck it for yourself. I was a little bit more nervous this evening than I had anticipated.
Good.
But and he was really bad. Yeah. I mean, you learn to channel nerves. It's good to be nervous. The day you stop getting nervous is the day you stop caring about it. And we shouldn't be like that. Is that not
Yeah.
true?
Yeah.
But it's learning to cope, and I like Mark's point about being meditative. Everybody goes through their own kind of pre-gig rituals, breathing and being meditative and having a glass of wine really helps.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about Alan and Maya? What do you get the nerves? And if so, what do you do, Alan?
Yeah, it's more the anticipation of it, and once you're normally up and running, you sort of settle into it. It's just once you get started, it's a bit like anything. It's like any athlete before a race. You're always a bit nervous, but when hopefully everything kicks in once you get going, that's what you
And
hope
Maya?
for anyway.
Do you have any rituals?
I don't
Oh,
really have
very
any
quiet, Maya, at the moment.
Just, sorry. I don't have the. Oops, but they can't see me. Sorry. Just a second. Can you hear me?
Yes, just a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the rituals, but I try to be warmed up. I try to be nice and positive, and also what marks today's concert especially because I haven't been playing for so long
Yeah.
in public. Now I really
Exactly.
feel like it's really it's really like the blood pressure and
Excellent, that's what I wanted.
Everything.
Yes. Brilliant. So I'm glad that that's
It's been too long for a piano.
It's been
player,
too long,
for a
yeah, and
musician
so they
not to be performing.
yeah, and so those nerves might be a little bit like yeah, I remember these, but what do I do with them? Yeah. Anyway, that's lovely. Thank you very much. One other little question from Dean. A quick one for Mark. What is your favourite drum in the kit? What's your favourite drum in the kit?
I think I tried to reply to that, but maybe I didn't in chat.
You might have done, but that's somewhere
yeah.
else in another track.
Yeah.
Drum,
have
snare
Good.
drum, cymbals, hi-hats. They're both got the greatest range of tonalities and timbres. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, let's go on to Alan. So if the other musicians can mute, this is Alan Cheshire on the horn, and we'll go over to him right now. Hello, Alan. Off to you.
Although I shall speak after this one. This is kind of a bit of from the sublime to the ridiculous, I guess. There was a piece of music called L'Adagio by a German composer called Bernhard Kroll. And I came across this piece when I was studying in Germany, along with the next piece I'm going to play for you as well. The teacher I was with at the time was very into sort of transcribing stuff, and he actually transcribed the Bach cello suites, all 6 of them, for horn. And basically, that's what I'm going to play for you next. I'm going to play the Minuetto number 1 and 2 from the very, very first cello suite. It's very hard to choose which one to do. I thought this one sounded quite nice. With L'Adagio is a bit of a funny piece as well. I think if it was a GCSE composition, you'd probably get slated for it because it's just so many ideas and none of them seem to develop. But it's quite an interesting piece, and I quite often guide a lot of my students towards it as well because I think it's a lot better than a lot of sort of other pieces that are out there that people can choose. And it's nice as well, this whole little concert that Matt's put together, and it's kind of made me think about, because obviously we don't have access to piano and sort of accompaniment, so it made me think, what can I do to sort of offer something that's varied, so that people get a real experience for different things on the horn. So that was, as I say, L'Adagio. And now the next one I'm going to play for you is the Minuetto 1 and 2 from the cello suite number 1 by Bach. Just check my plumbing for water before I start. Hazard of the job being a horn player, I'm afraid. So that was the cello suite, number 1, Minuetto number 1 and 2. And then I thought, okay, this has been quite serious music. We could do with something that's a little bit more fun. So for my final piece, I'm now going to play you a little jazz study. And these are something I came across as well not so long ago, and they're a really nice alternative to they're just something a bit different. And again, because normally a lot of people don't associate the horn with jazz either, or playing sort of swing. So I just thought, let's just keep it going in the same vein, and let's see if they still don't treat it in the same way. So this is a little piece called Just Desserts, Frippery Style.
Huzzah! Thank you very much, Alan.
What a nice
Marvellous.
selection.
Yes, that was very good. From Bach to jazz. Yes. Cheers, Mike. Brilliant. Thank you very much. A few questions for you that have come in. First one for you, Alan. What is the black thing on the
This
horn?
part here. Well, this is
Yes.
this is a leather
I'm
handgrip.
guessing that's
Just when you get a bit hot, because it's just metal, there's a lovely shiny silver bit underneath, but your hand tends to slide around, so this just stops it from. It gives you a little bit of extra grip, and I tend to play with my finger out of my finger hook as well, so I need that little thing to stop my hand from sliding around. I thought you
right.
this little black
Okay,
thing on-
lovely. And
There's a little tiny
no,
little thing there,
don't we
which is
saw that. What is
actually-
that?
Because every musician should never be without the pencil. So it's a little It's my
Your essential
for when
pencil.
Matt says
Horn
cut,
players.
cut this, and then we can just mark it all up perfectly. So it's a very useful little tool to have.
Horn
And
players.
that means I can never forget, because I always forget.
Horn players have the smallest pencils in the world.
We all have it. Yes, it's very true. We don't
And moving on, another question. This is for Mike and Alan, I suppose. What would you say the main difference between horn and trumpet, musically, tonally, and is Sue your next door neighbour?
Yes.
Yes. So what is the difference? What is she's probably saying? Can I have a horn player next door rather than the trumpeter?
Right.
Is what she's probably guessing. But go.
Essentially, this is a trumpet, which is you're going to say that's a piece of paper that you just got off your desk. Yes, but it's got it's just a tube, and obviously there's a flared bell on the end, but then a horn is actually then shaped like its name suggests, like that. So it's thin at one end and thick at the other. So cornet.
Yes.
Ice cream cornet, lovely. Is a horn, and so it's got a conical bore. And
Right.
I've been called a conical bore several times. But essentially, then a trumpet is just a cylinder
Right.
for most of its length. If I show you this one I prepared earlier, if I show you this natural trumpet, which is a Baroque instrument, you can see that's basically it's like the same width all the way down, apart from this very end bit where it's got a flared bell. That's a good way of showing it to you.
Ooh.
And what that means is the sound is rubbish after you've just had 2 glasses of wine. But the sound of a trumpet is more direct and piercing, and the sound of a horn, as you just heard for 10-15 minutes with Alan, is more mellow. Would you like to add anything to that, Alan?
I think also just the horn, if you think about a horn in an orchestra, there are 4 horns in an orchestra because they also have a much bigger range than trumpet. I mean, horn can actually cover 4 octaves, whereas a trumpet does about 2.5. So it's got a more diverse, so you can play as really low notes, or you can play very high notes. And it just kind of has a much bigger space in which it can sort of operate. And just have there's a more mellow sound to the trumpet. I think that's the...
So what you're saying is
Technically,
Well,
that's what I was just trying to say. Thanks for summing that one
Hang
up,
on.
Mark.
How I would like to describe it is trumpets are more like the icing on the cake, and horns are within the cake, and they give it body and give it flavour. But the trumpets just give
Lovely.
it icing on the top.
One of the things that whenever we have an orchestral gig, and if there's a horn, it's definitely got to be a horn, and I will make sure there's a horn in the band, and it will usually be Alan. And there's always nice moments in a concert and Alan will know what I like. I just look at him and I go, yes, this is the moment. Do your... Those are the things that I just like. You hear that and I go, yes, the big soaring type thing, not necessarily just sound like an elephant, but just the way that sometimes you soar up to those top notes and it cuts through the orchestra. And I love that. That sends me that gives me the heebie-jeebies because it's just so round and beautiful. Very quickly, before we introduce my 2 other little things, can you tell us very quickly about those lovely old horns hanging behind you?
Yay!
Yes,
Very quickly, you've got 30 seconds, 10 each.
You have the middle one is a natural horn. The one on the left is an old piston horn, which is dates from about 1920 something. And then the other one is my very first horn I ever had when I went to college, and I just couldn't get to be part of it. So, and then obviously this is one I use now most of the days. But they just it's a bit like evolution, but I've just put them in slightly the wrong order because I tend to use the one in the middle a bit more.
And the natural horn's got no valves on it, has it, Alan?
No, the natural horn has no valves, and also Mike has no crook on it at the moment, so I can't demonstrate it because my crooks are in the bedroom next door.
Well, there's a question about that in a way, possibly. How do you change the pitch without keys? Because there must have been... Ella must have been watching quite hard and obviously heard different pitches, but didn't see fingers moving.
Well, what we do is that we change the way in which we buzz our lips. We go... And then just by changing the aperture, by tightening and loosening the lips, and by increasing the amount of air and by decreasing the amount of airflow, we can actually create different notes. And as I say, again, the horn is is a little bit precarious, especially at the top, because all the notes suddenly get very, very close together. So without using any valves, you can actually play about 16 notes. And then by the time you get down to using all the valves at the same time, you can play about 22 notes all in the same combination just by changing your lip. So it becomes a bit dodgy at the top when you're on that one. And the same thing goes for natural horn as well. So the higher the crook, like an F crook, and that's why most horns are pitched in F as well. But it still gives us a 16 note range to choose from. And basically all the valves are doing is it's just a model. And this is actually the 200th anniversary of the valve. I think it was invented in 1820. So basically, by Blumel and Schottel, just to give you a quick little lesson. And basically, this is just a quick way of changing crooks. So every time we add a valve, we basically add a length of pipe. So basically, in effect, when we don't press any valves, it's a natural horn. As soon as we start using the valves, we're then adding another length, and we just keep. And so all the time, we're just changing between horns, and that was a great thing that the valve gave us. It gave us the ability to stop and say, wait a minute, change your plumbing, stick a next bit of pipe in, play 3 notes, and then change the plumbing. And honestly, I've got a big bag of crooks. It's about this big, and there's about a dozen crooks in there, which you have to keep changing in and out all the time. And it gets quite confusing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for all of that. That's lovely. Right. We're moving on to our final musician this evening. Now, Maya there in the red dress down the bottom there. Hello, Maya. I had a little announcement that came up on my Facebook today that said 3 years ago to this day, I went to do some training for Yamaha to find out all about Yamaha pianos. And on that day, only for very briefly, I actually met Maya for the first time 3 years ago today. And we then did some, they called them tours. That sounds really lavish. But we went to music shops and we did a sort of an hour-long show between the two of us. And Maya played an awful lot more notes than I did. We did play a little a duet, which was actually for 8 hands, wasn't it? And we pre-recorded it. It was great fun. But I always remember the first time we sort of met in the Yamaha studios. So there was a piano in there, and I said, "Well, Maya, you jump on the piano first." And she's playing away, and I was thinking to myself, "Oh my goodness, she's just brilliant." You know, there's just notes flying all over the place. It was just amazing. And I was thinking to myself, this is where the old doubt thing comes in for a lot of musicians. Like, why am I here? What can I offer to this concert? And then, of course, Maya finishes, and I say, "Oh, thank you very much." And then I think she nipped off to the loo, and I forgot that she'd gone. So I'm just sitting there at this beautiful, I think it was Yamaha grand piano, and I just sit there and I noodle. I just play, some stuff, and I'm playing some just tunes that I'm making up, maybe a few, just making it up. And I used to do that in a restaurant for like 3 hours a night, just sitting there playing the piano. Yeah. And she came in and said, "Wow, that was amazing." And that was a real sort of affirmation and a reminder that all of us as musicians have we play our instruments, but we all have our little niches and our little good things that we can do to bring to the orchestral party or the musical party, etc. So it was great fun playing with Maya and doing our duets and things. So I've done enough talking about Maya. She's brilliant. She's going to play some lovely things and going to shout out very loudly what the pieces are. And then she's in London, by the way, everybody. So that'll be nice. Over to Maya.
Thank you, Matt. Actually,
You're going to have to get even closer to the microphone to announce it.
How is that? Is it a lot of disturbance?
There is a bit of buzz, yeah. But we're here to
Sorry.
listen to your piano.
Yeah, I will switch it on off. The first piece will be Isaac Albeni's Triana from Iberia. And Iberia is basically the Spanish-Portuguese peninsula. And he wrote many pieces about, with the names of Spanish towns. And Triana means one of the Sevilla's quarter, a gypsy quarter. So you get the Spanish and gypsy feeling in this one. So please enjoy.
Yep, that worked great. Yep, here we go. You can't hear the applause, but I'm applauding. There you are.
Thank
There's
you.
loads of applause. Well done. Amazing piece and wonderfully played.
Oh, thank you very much. I love Spanish music, and today I'm in red. And also, I must say I'm from Belarus, and right now in Belarus there is a little, not really little, it's a big revolution happening, and one of the colors of our revolution is red, and other colors are white. So I'm dedicating the next piece to our Belarusian freedom, hopefully. And the next piece will be by the most amazing Russian composer, Alexander Scriabin. And I would love to play his revolutionary etude, but unfortunately, my most favorite etude of his is another one, the C sharp minor etude, opus 42, number 5. And it has everything in it. It has all the beauty and all the torture and all the wish and desire, and it's also very dark. I'm sorry for that, but I think everyone should enjoy this piece because it encapsulates in it everything. So, but it's very short.
Wow, that was fabulous. Let me bring everybody back. Wow, well done, and that was beautiful. Very, yeah, passionate. But my favorite when that bass was kicking in there every now and then was, yeah, very orchestral, lovely. There's a
Hope
question.
the sound wasn't distorted though.
No. It was great. Really
No, it's
dramatic.
good.
Yeah, look, a little thing for my wife there. Such a wonderful dramatic piece and incredibly complete. Look at that. And another little thing from the Holdens. Here's this. Your hands must be aching from those lively tunes. How do you manage all those aches and pains? Do you get aches and pains in your hands? That's all right.
Well,
Hello,
funnily
sorry about
enough,
that, but
it's I don't
I'm
have aches
online
and
now.
pains when I practice. When I
Right.
stop practicing, oh, that's where all
That's-
sorts of pains
Just
come.
keep practicing and it keeps it oiled, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
absolutely.
Because all those tiny muscles, they need work.
Yeah, well, that was absolutely lovely. I really enjoyed those pieces. There's a question from Sue that was happening while you were playing, but I'm going to open that out to everybody. Do you think you're born with an amazing talent, because you all have amazing talents, or is it something you can develop asking for a friend? Is it nature or nurture? I'll put it out there to anybody. What's the secret? Go on, Maya. You're going to say something. Go on.
No, I think I was never considered very talented. I think
Right.
in my case, it's just some, like literally some talent that I got from my grandfather, because he was singing and that was amazing to listen to. But
Yeah.
it was in my early childhood. So, but I think really what it is passion for music. It's just like you really like music and you want to hear it and you want to perform it yourself. And I
Yeah.
think it's a lot of dedication and practice.
Yeah. I'm going to, yeah. Practice, and passion, because you enjoy it and you want to do it. You want to do the practice. I mean, there were certainly times when I was younger where I didn't want to do any practice, and my mum and dad, who are probably watching now, are going, "Yeah, I remember those times." I don't myself. I don't enjoy practice. I find it really, really dull. Hence why I used to play in restaurants for 3 hours and making it up, because it was a different skill. Whereas I know many of you will have you've sat down for hours and practiced something until you get it right, and you can only do that if you really want to do it, presumably. Anybody else want to chuck in something really eloquent, or are you all just amazed by what I just said?
I
Go
can't
on,
be
Mark.
I can't be eloquent, but yeah, all that Maya said, and I guess maybe the thing that I find is because I do a lot of improvisation and jazz work. I think that it's interesting. I've got some other musician friends, drummers that are great players, but when they hear me do stuff, they go, "Well, what is that? What?" Like you, it's just making it up. So I think there's an element maybe of some personalities of just risk taking and
Yeah.
embracing that it could all go horribly wrong. And whereas others, and there's not a right or wrong or a better or worse. It's just maybe
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe. I don't know that I kind of like ever developed that. I think, and that maybe goes back to me, messing around on my dad's organ,
Yeah.
thinking I was amazing. Who knows?
Who knows?
Noise.
Any other little nuggets there? Go on, Mike. You're going to say something. No, you're not.
No, not necessarily. What,
No.
practicing? Are we talking about
Practice.
practicing?
Yeah.
Um,
and
I did-
anybody got any secrets to practicing just
I
before
did-
we finish?
I discovered practicing a bit too late, really.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? You've just
same.
got to hunker down and do it, and it's the painful bit. It's not it's not all a bed of roses. You do those things to prepare. You drill, and so it looks easy when you perform. Hopefully.
Yeah. Because Maya, you you played everything, all those notes from memory, and my head would just, well, I'd start making it up. Obviously, I couldn't remember. That'd be the problem. How do you memorize all those notes? I mean, just practice, just repetition.
No, it's of course it's knowledge of harmony theory analysis, like everything. I never knew like practicing until I started teaching.
Right.
And in order to teach someone how to practice, you really have to explain what to practice and what's the benefits of practice and what you achieve and what you look for and what is that exact clarity and what is that touch that we want. Those things, I remember I was kind of, that they make things like, how to say, once you get past that hate for etudes, for Czerny studies and hate for scales, and you get to play Mozart, practice comes. Like really, it just because you love the, sorry for this noise, you love the sound that can be made. It's kind of this pre-hearing, like basically just loving the sound which is not yet made. That's the practice, what I do.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for beautiful and inspiring playing. There we are. And I'm going to say that to all of you because that was absolutely lovely. I've really enjoyed just chatting with you guys about music and listening to all your things. And thank you for answering all those questions. To the 19 people that are still watching, which is quite rare because I've done these things before, and you start with 20 and by the end everyone's dribbled off and you're only still talking to the dog, but you're all there watching, and so that's really positive. Thank you very much for sticking with us, and the technology has actually held up, I think, so which has been really good. In 2 weeks time we've got the second one of these pilots, so look out for that one coming advertised. I can't remember off the top of my head now, and I should have remembered who's playing, but there's some saxophone. There's a Simon Marsh, yeah. There's an opera singer and a pianist who are friends of Maya. They're going to be singing. I can't remember the other two. Really apologising for those that I haven't remembered them. That's really bad. I should have done, but didn't plan that one. But if you've really enjoyed it, and please put something in the comment. If anyone out there of the 20 people or whatever can think how this could continue, because it's been great that you've all bought your tickets, and obviously you only get one per household. If we split that money, Eventbrite take a little chunk, and we split that money against all these musicians, they'll be able to buy a beer tonight, maybe, if we're lucky, with the money that's coming. So yay, it would be really nice if you can think of a way, or if you know of a sponsor, maybe a local sponsor or something like that, or a charity that say, yeah, we'll give you some money so that this event can be cheaper, or ideally a lot cheaper, so that more people can listen to this wonderful music and chat to musicians and find out a little bit more about what makes them tick and hopefully inspire. It's great to have some young people. It might have been a young person, I'm not too sure. Ella, thank you very much for watching and asking all those really interesting questions. It's been great. So I'm going to press the end broadcast button in a moment. So if we all wave and say goodbye, that's the traditional way of saying bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, and see you all soon. Pleasure. Bye.